Final review, final review, final review. So this is one of the most happening concern that is going on among all the B schoolers, the first years at least. Many of us are midway through our summer internships. So in order to provide you guys insights on how to structure your review PPT, we bring to you an amazing bunch from the senior batch of IIM Kozhikode who have cracked PPOs in diverse fields. Hello everyone, I'm so excited to have you all here. Let me do a quick round of introduction. We have Ojas, who has done his internship in a Prodman role. We have Ritika, who has done her internship in a finance role. Abhishek has done his internship in a marketing role. And Shaktidhar has done his internship in a consulting role. So, panel, as you all know, like most of the MBA first year folks across B schools, they are almost midway into their internships. We would like to hear from you. How did you tackle your final review process? So, can any one of you start with briefing about your process and how did you structure your PPT?
So I just got 4 minutes to present my slide. So basically, I was asked to present just one slide in the final review, and the review was on the last week, and I got 4 minutes to present the slide. And I was supposed to present it to the entire leadership. So in my firm, there are separate offerings for each of the divisions, and in my division, there are around 6 to 8 managers. So all of them will be present, and I'll have to present it to them. That was the setup. That was the setup in which I had to present. So basically, in most of the consulting internships, the end review is more or less just an executive summary of the work done. So basically, if you have to explain your work and the project to someone who has no clue about it, someone who's hearing it for the first time, how will you go about it? So that's the way we were asked to approach it. So that's the way I also approached it. So coming to the contents of the slide, I would say basically I had 4 headers in mind that I wanted to cover. So first is the problem statement or the objective of the project. And second is the solution methodology and the role played by me. What did I exactly do? How did I contribute in arriving at the solution? The third was the impact created. So what impact did I create to the firm, to the client? What role did I played? How it translated into impact? And finally, the key learnings that I derived from the project. So usually in consulting internships, so there is one main project and there are 1 or 2 sub projects or initiatives. So what I did was I basically covered the problem statement, the work done to arrive at the solution, and the impact created for each of the projects. Each of them I listed them separately, and the key learnings I clubbed into one as a separate section. So I just listed out the key learnings throughout that I had throughout my course of 8 weeks during the internship. So that's the way I went about it. And so a few things that we were advised to do were like this. So basically, we were told that overshooting the time is a strict no. So that was emphasized a lot. So we had to practice beforehand to make sure that we finished within the allotted time. And also, the communication was asked to be clear and crisp. So basically, as I said, if someone doesn't know the project, they wouldn't want a lot of details. They would just want to grasp the essence of the project and quickly understand what was the project, what was the solution, and how we went about it. So that's the way we practiced it. To start with, I think the setting of the context is very important. So because when you start it out, people usually tend to get into the details much quicker than establishing the problem statement. So I think even in our practice rounds, we were a few people pointed that out, and we were continuously asked to be clear with setting the context upfront. So once that is done, the flow of the slide should be there. So if I talk about the slide as such, I think one overemphasized point during the practice rounds and coachings was that the slide has to be client ready. What this means is the slide has to be in a state so as that it could be presented to a client, just the way you could present it to a client. That's how it should be in the final review as well. And most of the firms have their own formatting styles, own fonts and colors, and the same have to be followed for the final review PPT as well. So again, a few things are text-heavy slides should be usually avoided because we would have done a lot of work. There would be a lot of things to put in the slide, but not everything is really necessary. You just need to put out the important points that would probably just bring out the essence, and just those should be enough. And numbers and infographics need to be put out because it basically quantifies the work that you've done, and it also makes it more consumable so that the audience is always following you. So it helps them to be with you. So numbers and infographics again is a must. Apart from this, I think the slide structure was very important. So one of the feedback that I got continuously was that there should be a flow in the slide. So what I mean is, for example, say you have 2 projects and you're talking about the problem statement, the solution, and the impact. So when someone is seeing the slide, they should clearly understand how the content is flowing, either vertically or horizontally, and within each section, how is the content flowing, so that they, as soon as they look at it, they understand what exactly you're trying to say, and when you're voicing it over, they're able to follow the slide. So that, I think, is something that you should keep refining. Once you make the first draft, after that you should keep refining, and finally you should make it in a format such that the slide is completely organized, and you have a good flow to go with, so that when you're explaining it, it's easier to follow. So I worked on that as well. And apart from that, I think, I think these are the basic things that I followed. The first and foremost thing you should keep in mind is, if you are new to this, if you completely don't have any idea about the project, how can you make it more consumable, and how can you make it, how can you clearly highlight the impact that you've done to the firm? So that's my take on this.
So Shakti already covered a lot of things. So for us, the review process was 15 minutes of presentation followed by 10 minutes of Q&A. And the person who was my mentor, buddy, department head, and a cross-functional department head. So and we were given 5 slides to present, like there was a limit on 5 slides, and we could add appendix as per as our convenience. So what I did was, in the first slide, I started by describing the project objective, deliverables, and the approach. So in the approach, you can describe what are the steps that you took towards achieving your final goal, and writing the broader steps, and writing 1 or 2 lines about it, so that if someone gets a look at it, you can come to know what have you done. After that, on the other slides, I explained all those parts of approach a bit in detail, but since we had a 15-minute time to present, I just took on the important points. And one thing that I did was use of hyperlinks. Was that basically, so you have put up a lot of things in appendix, and going through and forth is very difficult. So use of hyperlinks makes it easy while you're presenting, because you have a lot of things that you want to say extra, you want to show some infographics, or you want to show some Excel sheet or calculations that you have done. So hyperlinks makes it easy to navigate. On the last slide were recommendations. So I feel that the most time should be spent on this. Like if you are given, suppose, 15 minutes to present, you should ideally spend 3 to 4 minutes on the recommendation part, because this is something what the senior leadership is interested to hear, because they have given you a problem, and obviously your mentor and buddy have guided you in the approach thing. So recommendation is something that they want to know, and they're looking for something that they can probably implement. So this is something where you should put a lot of emphasis on, and give a lot of time on. Also, one thing that really helps is, since the time to present is lesser, it would be better if you don't write a lot of things, because it will be difficult for them to read, and you should use less text heavy and less clutter, and you could use smart art or graphs or infographics. Also, one thing that really helps is preparing, because when you're given 15 minutes, that is too less. Also, one of the feedback that I got from the cross-functional department head was that you looked prepared, and he was very happy seeing that. Other thing is, since the person's video is really off, it becomes very difficult to know if the person is actually listening to you or not. So probably some pauses in between, and then going on to explain would be better, because that person will respond in between for that. One more thing that you can take care of is, I approached it in the form of case studies. So whatever case studies I did not describe them in detail. I just wrote the heading of the case study in my presentation, and if I was asked, I just spoke about it, because time was less. Yeah, that's it from my side.
So yeah, I interned in majorly trade marketing division. So it's not B2C, it's more of a B2B marketing category. The overall experience, I would say, was more like it's sort of a consulting role, but you have to be a little bit more creative. Hence, the entire work that you do in marketing is very close to what you're doing in a consulting role. So in terms of work that I did was obviously the primary research, secondary research, consumer surveys, understanding competitive benchmarking, and then going ahead with the recommendations and the market sizing aspect that we usually study in the first year itself. So that's the entire gamut of work that I did. In terms of reviews, we had 2 reviews. First was the mid review. In mid review also, I had first round with my mentor directly, who's the branch manager or the general manager. And this second round in the mid review is the zonal head or someone superior to your mentor. And similarly, in final review, you have 3 rounds. First one is with the branch manager, the second with again zonal head, and the third one is with someone who's handling the executive position, like CEO of that particular division. So these are the 3 rounds that we had. And usually you get a feedback within the mid-review as well, that what went wrong for you during the review and what you should be doing going forward, or what course corrections you have to adopt from now on, so that you can move ahead with your pilot execution, or some changes in your strategy, in your approach to getting towards the solution. Because the work that they want you to do is some real work. It's not like they have just created project out of thin air for just to gauge your understanding, but those are real problems that they are facing, and they want your opinion and your view how to approach those problems. So that's the what can I say, expectations from their end, that you take it in that way and approach your work accordingly. In terms of PPT, I would say it's very exhaustive process. I mean, it varies from internship to internship, from company to company. For me, it was very exhaustive. We started very early, and again, my buddy was really helpful. Multiple iterations were there. Again, the first day will always be very bad for you, and you should probably start 10, 12 days, I guess 2 weeks before your final review, so that you have enough time to, just like everyone said, to prepare, be within that time limit. Because when you're presenting to a CXO level person, they won't be giving you more than 20, 25 minutes or whatever time they have. They'll cut you off directly at 20 minutes. So you have to complete your presentation before those 20 minutes, so that you can understand what's their opinion about your presentation. So that's another important thing, preparing for presentation, timing it really well. In terms of organization, as Shaktidhar already mentioned, it should be in a manner that it narrates the entire story. It's not like you can go ahead and present the deck as the way you like. If you are not going to present the deck, let's assume they're not going to take your review, they'll just take your PPT as your final submission. Still, if they go through your PPT, they should be able to understand each and everything. What was your problem statement and what you did, what was your final recommendation, and what was the reason behind that particular recommendation. So that narration and storyline should be crisp and clear. As Ritika also mentioned, very less words, but the data points, the pictures or graphs, it should be in such a manner that someone reads it out. As Shaktidhar also said, it should be client ready. If I'm giving it to the client, I'm giving it to the general manager. If he reads it out, he understands the situation completely. So you should not be important for your final review. That's how your deck should be. So that's the entire thing. Apart from that, in terms of marketing, I guess storyline is much more important, I would say. So you have to be very good with your voice amplification. With you have to be very modulated voice. You have to stress some points very seriously why this is important. You have to again be ready for in-between questioning. So even though we had Q&A at the end, it was recommended for us, but the managers and the other panel members, they directly stop you in between and they would ask you about the market sizing, how you did it. They would ask you about one particular slide. If there's anything wrong, they would point it out. If they had done already that thing in their area, they would point it out to you that this went wrong. Why are you recommending it again? So you have to be ready for that and cross-questioning in between the slides as well. And I guess the frameworks that people have learned in first year, STP, segmenting, targeting, positioning, 4P, 7P, the customer journey that we read. So I guess, and Maslow's pyramid, obviously, in terms of even if you look at it, still relevant. How can you upsell the product, cross-sell the product, how the behavior change is taking place for the customers for particular product. So all those things are still relevant in your internship, and you have to use those subtly in your presentations as well. You can, instead of directly using Maslow's, let's say you just say, okay, I'll be shifting someone from using Lux to a very high-end product. Like just an example from HUL or Marico, you would be saying, instead of using coconut oil, base coconut oil, and shift the customer towards more value-added product. So these are the frameworks that you can use in your PPT, but do not use them directly. Make some changes so that they are adapted to your problem statement. Because if you are cross-questioned on that particular framework, you won't be able to answer, because the people who are reviewing your not on base level. They have 15, 20 years odd experience, so they know what the real problems are. So I guess that's the basic bit that I would like someone to do in their PPT as well as the final.
I'll first start with the general idea or outline how it happens and when it happens. So first thing is, especially in the company I interned with, as well as in general, the timelines are not very fixed. Though it is a 8-week internship, sometimes the end review might happen even in your 7th week or quite earlier. So have this in the back of your mind and be clear in your communication with your manager or maybe through your seniors that usually when does it happen, and even with the manager be open and direct about it if he is open or she is open about it, and then accordingly set up a particular time, decide your entire project so that you have proper time to work on your PPT, because it needs a lot of work. Around 4 to 5 days would surely be required only to create that PPT in a finished, polished state. So that is the first thing, like when should you start working on it? And second, which Abhishek touched upon. So there will be things which you'll get as feedback during your mid review. So this is the very like write down the make some points or write down the review and the feedback, and make sure you're not missing any of that point in your final PPT, because those who reviewed in your mid review would surely be there in your final review. So they will catch on those points, they will want to see those points, and if any one of them is not there, it will reflect very badly. So those are general points. Coming to Prodman specific, how the content and everything looks like. So the problem here is that the objective or the problem statement that you get is not very narrow. Like sometimes some people get very broad question, like they have to explore entire market, entire problem scenario, and come up with specific set of features or a product as such, while others are given a very specific feature within an existing product, and they have to see if it is a valid, like see if it is valuable or not, how should we prototype it, how should we build it. So obviously your PPT will depend a lot on the scope of your problem that you have been given. But coming from a broad viewpoint, so even if you start with an general market analysis kind of thing, first thing always will be your personas and your problem scenarios or jobs to be done by those personas. And overall in your PPT, like follow the whole design thinking approach. It's the best way to structure it, and be very like use visualization a lot. So in contrast to other PPTs, I guess same, it should be content, not very content or text heavy, what Ritika said, but at the same time, more than graphs and such, you can use cartoons, you can use, like, so you have that a lot of creative freedom. In fact, it is more and more wanted that you use such creative freedom, like put visuals, put storyboards, cartoons. One more idea that I got was through, like, I used to explore a lot of PPTs of other people, like your colleagues and all. That will also give you ideas. Not, don't copy the PPTs completely, but you'll get ideas from there. So use that a lot. So one of the ideas was where you have to describe need of let's say 2-3 users in a particular setting, like office setting. So maybe you can take an image from the net where these people are working, and then just put word bubbles that what they might be thinking, what they might be facing. So this is one of the approach. Similarly, you can get very creative in this particular space, and at least till the half of your PPT, as is with your project, goes into finding the right problem. So generally, again, in contrast to other domains, the problem statement given to you is not very clear. Your first task is to refine it and crystallize it into a very actionable and testable problem statement. So that is where the half of the PPT will go. Your personas, problem scenarios, then your primary research, maybe user interviews, or if you have done any even secondary research which supplements your findings, all of that will go. Then slightly deviating from the design thinking approach, but this can be helpful in certain scenarios. You can also include compete analysis, something from strategic management perspective or positioning, this kind of things, like where do you stand with respect to competitors, what are the pros and cons, what you can offer in a short time. This will help you with your prioritization as well. And once you have identified a set of features, then the prioritization slide will follow. Again, here use a lot of storytelling why you are prioritizing certain features or others. So it's not just, it will not be a very matrix kind of thing that you rate as high, mid, low. This is how it is followed in books, but you need to be very creative here as well. You need to give customer voice, as in what is the customer's input on each of the features and how you should prioritize based on that. There will be an element of subjectivity always, so you need to justify while presenting, which will be very important. And then after the prioritization, once you are selected one or two features that you are going to ship, then this is more towards your engineering audience. So then you go into the nitty gritties of the solution and what is the goal of that feature, what is the non-goal, what are the business outcomes you're trying to achieve, and then what will it look like, the design part of it. So here you can create prototypes. With prototypes, you need not be very elaborate. You need not like really use Balsamiq or any such tool, because like it's good if you use it, but if you are short on time, or if you don't know how to use and will have to invest a lot in learning the itself, take a screenshot, you reuse whatever elements you can, and whatever new you want to put, you can just use it there. So prototyping still will be very important to convey exactly what you want. And even with prototypes, do some tests or validations, and provide that present that input as well, that your whatever the positive or negative feedback was regarding your prototype, that also you should mention in your PPT. And then finally it will be the next steps or steps forward, that kind of structure.
Like you guys have covered most of the things, like what we should include and how should we go about structuring the PPT. So one thing I would like to ask is, many a times we listen to this phrase from team leads and managers, like bring out that impact, show us what difference did you make. But we work in teams, right? And our role is of an intern role. It is always the project team that is making the impact. So how can we just portray that intern specific impact in our PPTs?
I mean, that's very interesting question, to be honest. See, I guess from my point of view, if I look at my internship experience, I would say they were not looking how much financial impact your recommendation or your work would be bringing. But to be honest, they cannot judge you entirely in those 2 months or 8 weeks. What they want to know is, are your kind of the way you work, the way you work with the team, and the thinking process or the thought process you have, does it match with what they are expecting out of you? So they are not looking directly for tangible impact, but what they are looking at is the way you work, and are you jolly enough with the team, the thinking process, will it be able to bring some impact if they hire you and you work for a year or two with that organization. So they are not looking for your individual impact in the PPT, but certainly you need to have some numbers and some, financial projections. Let's say you are telling them, okay, this is the amount of market that we are having in South India, and this is the penetration level that you're expecting. So if you go ahead, this is the profit margins that are present in that particular product category. If you improve this product margins, if you change the distribution channel, going directly to the customer through Dunzo or Swiggy, so how does it impact your financials? So that shows that you understand the category, you understand the work, you have done some work. So that is one thing, including numbers. Whatever I think Ojas and others will also agree with me, whatever be the project, at the end of the day, the company wants some profit out of it. So you need to include some financial projections. The second thing is on-ground working. So even though you are doing a digital or online internship, but if your project requires you to do some pilot execution, let's say you are giving some recommendation and you need to have some pilot execution. So there are people at the branch office who can do the work for you. So if they are doing some small pilot execution, if they are getting the photograph or getting the video of that pilot, and similarly, Po just said that you're building a prototype. So if you get some animation of that particular thing on a website, whatever idea you gave to the team, and if you can include that animation, if you can include those videos or photographs in your slide, that okay, this was the idea, and this is the pilot that we have done, and this is the on-ground work that we did. So that shows them, okay, you are connected with the ground team, local team, and you can do work with them, and there is some tangibility to whatever you are saying. There is some real life evidence that you have shown to me. So that's the small impact that you can show. And I guess apart from that, your team members themselves are a big source. If you are very good with your team members, your buddies, people lower than your buddy and mentors, let's say someone who has just joined the organization. So your mentor won't be available to you 24/7. The people you will be interacting regularly will be someone who has joined a couple of years back. So your mentor will be taking feedback from those people. Okay, you've interacted with them. Is he good enough for the team? And similarly, your mentor's mentor will ask the question to your mentor. So that's how the feedback loop goes. So you need to have very good interaction with the team, and that's how they'll tell over the hierarchy. Okay, fine, this person is good enough to work with, and yes, he can deliver whatever work is given. So that's how you show, okay, you can do some impact for the organization. Yes.
I'd just like to add to that. So, when we think of the impact, I think all of us have gone through this. So we expect that, initially we think we should put something really good, right? Something that catches the eye. But it's not practical. It's not possible that, an intern is going to bring in $1 billion for the company in 2 months. That's just not going to happen. So I think at the end of the day, you just need to realize that you would have played a part in any solution, that any project that you work on, you would have played some part. So based on your action, say when you write the approach, for example, all of us mentioned that approach will be there in the PPT. Okay, so you've done this approach, you've done a particular activity. So what happened? So when you think of the impact, when you write the impact section, we should think of it that way. Okay, so I've done this, so what happened? So every part that we played, even if it's a small part in the entire solution, that particular part would have a tangible output. And when you put in some numbers, you're able to quantify that part. So I think the so what thinking, if you can incorporate that, and if you can frame it that way, I think that's good enough. So when they are looking for the impact, they want you to make an impactful statement. It's not really, they don't expect you to really bring in $1 billion or something like that. That's not the case. They just want you to understand, okay, do you really understand what you're doing has this impact in the overall scale? Are you able to fit in? Are you able to imagine where you fit in the picture, where you fit in the big picture? That's all they actually expect when you have to highlight the impact. Obviously, I think one mistake would be to just generally write a generic statement which does not really highlight what you've done and what impact. For example, if it's a big project and you're generally saying, okay, we've completed this for the client and this is what has happened, that becomes very generic. So it doesn't really show what you have done, what is the impact you have created. So I would say, think of it in a personal level, think of each of the actions that you've done and so what has happened, and try to translate that in terms of numbers and infographics, and just quantify that and write. I think that should be enough for the impact section.
So one more, like a small inquisitive question I have. Your batch was like one of the first batch to have seen a lot of transition. Like you were the first one to have a complete virtual online internship. So during the review process, specific to the review process, did you guys face any gaps or any difficulties? And like, what were the issues and how did you handle those issues? Like, are there any tips that the current batch should keep in mind while going for the review?
So one small tip that I have, though very important, be always ready to switch on your camera, be presentable. I know it's very straightforward, like it's given, but still what happens is mostly during the course of the internship, no one switches on their camera generally. And even in the mid review, many a times no one switches on their camera. And so it becomes a practice. At least this is what my experience was. And this happened with some of my friends as well. So during the interview or maybe your PPI, if you have one, at that time, so suddenly when you are facing the camera, it will you will face, like, you will become more conscious, as well as there will be a difference in the style, like the way you approach questions. Maybe you will be seeing your manager and other senior personnel on camera at that time. So just be a bit prepared that it is going to be a face-to-face thing.
So one thing that I did was, so before definitely everyone had a mid review, but before the final review, I made it up like a day before. I presented it to my buddy and got her feedback as well. So this helped me in. So there were a lot of places where I was not being clear, or that was something that a person who was sitting from other department would not understand because you're using two specific terms. So I felt that having a practice a day before with my buddy really helped a lot, because she could tell her what to emphasize more on. She could tell what you could avoid, because 15 minutes or whatever time you are given is too less. You have worked 2 months on that thing and you have to present that in a concise manner. So having a practice round definitely helps.
You can go to your alumni as well. I mean, I had contacts within the organization, a couple of 3-4 years back, alums, 18-19 graduates. So, you can anytime contact them and ask them, just ask them for 15-20 minutes, a couple of days before the final review. And they'll definitely give you good inputs, because they would know what that person is expecting out of it. So my final review got improved a lot because one of our alum gave me a couple of inputs, what kind of person I'm going to present to and what sort of expectations he might be having out of the PPT. So that helps a lot.
Which is just one more point. So I think, when you present in person, there's a personal aura. So that would be missing in a virtual setup. So I think to make up for it, a lot of people think of having a phone or something, another device where you have the content ready. So while that might help you, it might make it more robotic, or, that would, it would not be very casual. I think that's more important. You'll have to face the camera. You'll have to look at the camera and make sure that you make it interactive. It's already a virtual setup. There's already a lot of disturbances and all that. And just to make sure your audience is with you, I would say that just don't read it out from a device or anything like that. While you may have some help, but try to make it as casual and as engaging as possible.
Small thing that you can do is like, if you look at Zoom, so that you can slide the content and presentation part, right? So just have it in such a fashion that the people you are presenting to you, whom you are presenting, they are present in that panel in your laptop. Only half of the screen is the content, the PPT. The rest of the half is the panel members, and you can see them. You can see their expressions. You can see how they are reacting to your presentation, and you can course correct within the presentation itself.
Thank you so much. Guys, it was really a very extremely insightful session. And I'm very, very sure that all our viewers will definitely gain a lot of value out of it. So as we come towards the end of this video, I would like to heartfully thank all of you guys for really taking out so much time and on a very short notice. So thank you so much. And we wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors.